Look at who?
Look at Michael. I mean, he wasn't that old. He passed away of all that drinking, but then he went to Vietnam. He's seen a lot of bad things up there, you know.
Emotionally, like,
Disturbed in
Yeah.
his mind, yeah.
damaged. Do you think from the war?
Yeah.
What he saw?
He had
He
that-
was the only one that went off to join?
Yeah.
No one else did?
Nope.
Why is that, do you
But they
think?
all had records.
Oh, because
They all had a
felonies.
background.
What is your, what is your, what is your story with Diomato? How did you meet him?
Tio Maro.
Mhm.
I met him because he was with my cousin Andy. He was my cousin Andy's friend. And he came to the house one time. My cousin Andy had a couple of girls from Albuquerque. And they had a party or something. I think it was a New Year's party at my Aunt Selma's house, my Uncle Manuel. And he went with my cousin Andy, but he was after those girls, so I didn't pay attention to him, you know. And then I had seen him one day, and I told my friend, "Ooh, you're going out with that man? He's an old man. Look, he's got a beard." They had just come back from TJ, him and his friend, and he had a beard and he looked all ugly.
How old was he?
He was 25, I think, at that time.
How old were you?
I was 16.
He was that much older than you?
Well, I married him at 17 when I turned 17, and he was 27.
He's 10 years older than you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
No?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so,
How did the family react to that? Well, first of all, hold on.
because I got pregnant, they wanted me married. So, I mean, I was scared. I go, I better marry. We better get married. And then he goes, I better marry you because then they're going to get me for statutory rape and this and that.
Mhm.
I go, well, that's the only reason he's marrying me. But, yeah, I winded up with him.
Where was he from?
East LA.
Wasn't
Barrio Nuevo or something they called it.
wasn't there conflict because he was from a different neighborhood and the guys?
Not really, because they were older guys, and they knew mostly like Cheeky and the older guys, you know.
My mom said that he was a badass, Diomato, and he had a pretty badass reputation. That that your brothers and stuff, like, they respected him and they.
No, they just respected him because he was from LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not because he was badass or anything like that. He was older than them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there was never any beef between all of them?
No.
Accepting him into the family and
No, they liked
they were
him.
cool with him?
Yeah.
Did you get married before Lydia?
Oh yeah.
Were you, so
I got married in Las Vegas.
you did?
Mm-hmm. A little white chapel. I forgot the name of it.
And you were 17?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have a good marriage?
Yeah, I loved him. I mean, no matter what he did to me. I mean, he was a good worker. I have nothing to say about him working, supporting me, always giving me his check when he got paid. He would stay with 20 or 40 bucks. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pay everything and buy food and all that. He was a good provider. The only thing, he had a little weakness on the weekends.
Gambling or something? Or?
No. He was a womanizer. He would go to the bars and go out with women.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
For your whole
And then he
marriage?
would go out with women that I knew, friends that I knew. So it would come back to me right away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I heard stories of you pulling some guns out on a couple
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. And I even tried to kill myself.
You did?
I took a bunch of pills. Because when I had Davy, I fell going through the backyard down the stairs. I was taking a big old basket full of clothes because I would hang them outside, summer, so they could dry with the sun. I was taking that basket full of clothes and I slipped and I made a split. So a couple of days later I wind up in the hospital and I have Davy.
Early?
Yeah, and then I couldn't move. The doctor thought I had polio, I was paralyzed or something, It said I had sprained myself bad. So they gave me some pain pills because I couldn't even walk. I'd get the chair and I'd try to walk and it would hurt, So at that time he was, oh no, that's when I had Danny, not Davy, Danny. I had taken those pills and I remember I had Danny on the couch and I was looking at Danny and I go, oh my God, what am I doing? My baby, I go, oh my God.
What do you mean? What? Why were you saying that?
Because I took all the pills. I wanted to kill myself because I was tired of him. Every weekend he'd take off and wouldn't come until 3 o'clock in the morning.
That would be...
Lipstick on his collar and, all the evidence.
Yeah, that's demeaning and humiliating.
Yeah. So, I went through
Did you guys
a lot.
fight about it? Did you guys fight about that, and did he deny
I would
it?
tell him in the morning, he would, don't tell me nothing. He would just look at football on Sunday mornings. He would ignore me. And me, like a stupid, would just forget about it, Not forget about it, I'd think about what he was doing. But then, I took all those pills. That's when your dad came in. We lived right next door, those duplex. He goes, what did you do? He sees some of them on the floor and oh man, and they gave me a bunch of milk and they walked me around and finally they called an ambulance. They took me, they pumped me and they let me come home and I felt like I had a big old giant head, man. I couldn't be like, oh my God. He didn't care.
He didn't?
No. And then that's when that's the first time I see my mom get mad. She rushes in and my brothers rush in and they all charge at him and tell him, you better cut this shit off now. Look at what she did. And my mom started cussing at him and telling him off, My mom liked him a lot, And he liked my mom too, but finally he finally settled down for a while. That's when I pulled a gun on him. I told him, you know what? This has gone too far. You cut your shit off or I'm just shooting at you. I'm going to kill you. And he looked at me, starts taking off his ties, because he was ready to go out. He was ready to go out that night.
Oh.
And his friend was waiting for him out in the truck. I go out there and I shot the whole darn truck, that little thing that goes on the side, the ramp thing. I shot a bunch of holes on it and the guy got all scared and backed out with dirt flying all over and he never came back. I was so fed up, I didn't know what the hell to do anymore.
Yeah. How did he react?
Like I told you, he started taking off his necktie and his shirt and he just acted quiet. After a while, he finally calmed down,
That's hard.
Yeah.
Tell me about the kids. Who was Chuco's the oldest, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he get his nickname from like Little Pachuco or something? And he got shortened?
Tia named him Pachuco, she called him Chuco. But actually they called him Turk. They called him Turk.
They did?
Turk, because he was born on Turkey Day, on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh my God.
It was Thanksgiving the day that I had him. So they called him Turk, and then I don't know why Tia named him Chuco.
So Chuco was the oldest, and then...
She named him Chuco because she used to comb his hair like this, back like a little ducktail. That's why.
What is What is that? What is Chuco?
Well, that's like a little pachuco, you know, they used
Oh,
to,
right, right,
comb
right.
their hair like that.
Right. Who's next oldest?
Johnny.
Johnny's second oldest, and he looks the youngest.
And then it was Richard. And then Davy. And then Danny.
I can't believe you had 5 boys.
And I lost one.
In between
I don't know
who?
if it was my, between Davy and Danny I lost one. I don't know if it was my girl or not, I never knew.
How far along were you?
I was about a month and a half. Wasn't too-
Probably couldn't even have told, huh? 5 sons.
Yeah.
That must have been.
It was
Did you?
rough.
Yeah.
It was, especially when they started being teenagers. Oh my God. I'd get in that car, go out there, look for them in the neighborhood, helicopter flying around. I'd see a bunch of kids sitting on the curb. The cops putting a flashlight on them, and I'd be like, is it one of mine?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, at this point, when all the kids were born, you said that my dad lived next door to you in a duplex?
My mom, yeah.
Oh, he still lived at home with,
Yeah.
with your mom and
Yeah.
dad. Where was that?
Right here in Danby,
Oh.
right on the corner of
Well,
Danby and
we'll have to go over there and see. I
Yeah.
want to get pictures of that. And then he met. It probably wasn't until Davy was born is when I'm assuming that my dad met my mom, because Davy and Tina are somewhere around the same age, a little bit close. No, Danny and Tina I think are closer.
well, Chuco was just a little teenager. They were getting him high already. Yeah. David.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what they were saying, that he was, because he was the oldest, right? So he started hanging out with them.
Yeah.
That's when
I used to get mad because I go, instead of them chasing him away, they would contribute to him, you know?
and that's when they were doing PCP and heroin too, and
Yeah.
all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And Chuka was what, like 10 or 11 or something?
He was young. Maybe 11, 12 around there. Yeah. And I told David one time, I go, what if I would have done that to your kids? Would you have liked it? He looks at me. I didn't do nothing. I go, yes, you did. You know? You thought it was funny, you know, getting high with your nephew. Well, you guys were stupid. Instead of being uncles, you were being like devils, you know?
Yeah. Richard has some crazy stories that he's shared with us.
Oh, yeah.
He said he got into everything really young too.
Yeah.
Johnny's never been in any trouble.
Johnny he would go to the park and they would see if he had money, they would, come on, Dad, buy us a beer, and so they would take his money and go buy beer, and then they would give him a couple of beers, and he was on medication. So he would get hired with the beers, and they'd laugh because he would be coming home walking staggering, you know, until Richard finally got him and told him, hey, you know,